And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Our fourth match is about to begin, and it's France versus Russia in this one. Virtus.Pro versus Team Vitality. We're back on the desk. I'm Milosh, this is Hap, and this is Jess. We're gonna have a chat about these two squads, starting off with Virtus.Pro. Our Russian squad, plus one Estonian player in Karasheka, playing on the team who have surprised everybody with a great victory last week against Team Secret.
Yeah, definitely so. They didn't start off well. They had a total of 2 rounds over the first 2 playdays, and that made us a little bit skeptical when we went into that game. Like, how much are they going to be able to set up now? But there was a big change. WTG was playing again instead of Andrezi due to the fact that he was actually on the bootcamp with them, and thus they decided to go with him. And you instantly saw the old VP, you could almost say, the one that was working together. You saw them going in strong in these rounds, and as a result they managed to pick up a 3-7 victory against Secret, as you can see right here, and that puts a lot of hope into the shoes of the VP fans.
Definitely so, and we talked about them, we're with Virtus.Pro in our last Playday. They looked very comfortable with Karasheka, saying, hey, we're all together, we're happy with having WTG with us on the active roster. Zandrizi has kind of stepped back into more of his analysis role that he had previously. Let's talk about Vitality. We have a shill here on the desk, and we'll have a chat. Well, it's not just the team, it's Lilyun as well and Helby that we're big fans of.
You know what? It's just the 5 players, the 2 support stuff. There's more behind the scenes, of course, but those 7 people are what have made me so incredibly, interested in what Vitality has to show. I know I've been shilling them since the end of last stage. I said give them an off season. They've had middling results, but we have to point out the fact that I know it's in overtime, but they beat BDS. We really have to highlight that game because that was a really big one for me. You're beating one of the best teams in all of Europe. It shows that you have the capacity to do what is needed. I just think that last game, it really was just Empire finding their footing, and it knocked Vitality back. I think they will then, therefore, in reverse, find their footing back today. At least that's what I put in my predictions, so we'll see.
Predictions so far going relatively solid today.
Yeah.
I'm 3-on-3 so far, doing quite well.
Me too, I think, actually.
I think I might actually be above 50%, so I get to keep my job.
Wow, yes, let's go.
All right, well, since we have a bit of time, let's go real quick into our head-to-head. One player out of each one of these 2 teams that you guys selected, and it's Karasheka and Cactus. Hap, please help me out.
Well, you can see they have very similar roles, both in Heartbreach, both, of course, onto the Maestro, as in the support as well. And normally you would expect the Heartbreach to go for a lot of these plants, but as you can see, Cactus himself on 5, so he's outdoing Karasheka on that part. But that could also be the case, of course, due to the fact that these first 2 playdays VP had were not really part of the count.
Yeah, it's so hard to compare these players. We really did want to point out the fact that Cactus, although has had a really bad KD and he is at the bottom rate of his team, what he's doing with the plants and the objective has been incredible. It's why Vitality have been so strong, is they have that backline there in Cactus, especially on attack, and he's able to get in, get the plant down. That's what you want. And unfortunately for Karasheka, he seems to be juggling multiple jobs, and it's just, it's splitting his attention too far around.
We're still yet to see what roles everybody will be taking up on Virtus.Pro because they've had the player change. We'll see what they can explore over the next 2 playdays. It usually takes a bit to adapt in that way, though. Which map will we be playing on in this game? Let's put it up on the screen, and we've got 7 maps. 6 of them are down.
Oh my God.
We're going to go to Consulate yet again, and Virtus.Pro will be on the attacking side as Vitality take the defense.
This is so good.
Who is this? And I will credit Des who coined this term. Who do they call the King of Yellow?
Rise.
Yeah. That's what I was saying. This is just so good,
Yeah,
because as a Vitality shield,
Did you
you're just
watch
like,
the show?
Let's go.
Yeah, I was here.
No, not you. I mean, like Virtus.Pro. I know you guys are here.
Well, I mean, they won as well. On that was their only win so far against Secret, 3-7. So maybe they're wanting to double down on that success that they've had, and they have been able to watch a very long game between BDS and Vitality and know exactly where the strengths are, which is that yellow stair. So if they're more successful in clearing out Rise they might be able to, well, break through that stronghold.
Russian teams that always go through yellow, they've been known for always attacking on the opposite end of the
You know what? What is going to be the key part of this is getting rid of the dock in bathroom. They can do that from below. If they're effective at getting rid of the dock, Rise is gone. I want to see that counterplay. That means they've watched it. If they don't do that, it means, maybe they've watched it. It just means they're not ready to win this kind of match.
We'll see if they take that fight directly into yellow, into bathroom, or they say, no, to hell with it. We're just going to go to the opposite end of the map and just not care about it.
Like Empire does. It's very CIS region related,
But the
so you're right.
FP4.
Yeah.
So that's the dynamic that we want to take a look at. Exactly. Thanks so much, Hap. Thanks so much, Jess. We're ready for our game. Our lobby is set, and it's Virtus.Pro versus Vitality. It's Russia versus France. We've got Ace and Des waiting for you.
Someone really needs to tell Virtus.Pro that a map other than Consulate exists, apparently.
I don't feel it. I really like Consulate. I'm quite happy with this.
It's become the new Oregon of EU, in my opinion. It's the most played map of the stage by, I think, 3 or 4 times. I think we've had like a couple of maps twice, but Oregon is now at its 7th playthrough. It's quite intense, needless to say. And 4 of those coming from Vitality. They have absolutely loved it this stage. Have had some questionable games on it, much haunted by last stage, I imagine. Many will struggle to forget the game against G2 with Kayak's incredible clutch, Citizen and Virtue absolutely running amok against the lineup. And as alluded to by Secretly in the interview just before the break, because they are playing each other next week, Na'Vi versus Virtus.Pro. Also being absolutely traumatized by Blur in 3 huge clutch rounds from round 10 onwards to win in overtime. So, a bit of a curse map coming out for Virtus.Pro, but they did break that last week. I'm hoping that trend continues against Vitality, who are not so much rocked by their loss to BDS, but definitely showing that they aren't invincible.
Well, you do mention Consulate, Des, and I can tell you that so far, not including today, because I don't have those stats input yet, but up to everything prior to today, we have Consulate 33% of the time, so 1 in 3 EUL games so far has been played on Consulate. 57 rounds in total, with the next closest being Cafe, which is in 28 rounds, so half as many. And the attacker-defender split here in EUL Stage 2 at the minute stands at 47% attack, 53% defence. So you could argue that Vitality start with a very slight advantage here.
Yeah, and being completely honest, one thing we've got to analyse about this game is the fact that Virtus.Pro have played it in all of their previous games this stage. There is so much VOD footage to go back and analyse about how they've played this game for Vitality that I'd come in saying, well, we know where they're going to play. Like, sure, counter-stratting is a big part of the game. If you're on Virtus.Pro side, you need to be conscious of that. You need to be aware of what you need to change to keep things fresh, to make yourself unpredictable. They start off on the attack, Vitality on the defence. With the bands completed out there, I'd say relatively standard. You don't always see the Thatcher Kai pairing on Consulate. You do see it an awful lot on Club, and we spoke earlier on about the Nomad and the Valkyrie pairing on this map. It's your bread to your butter, basically, Ace.
Certainly, the Nomad Valkyrie, yeah, you've got, the opportunity there to play the run-outs and the jump-outs with the Nomad gone, but you're also going to take that Valkyrie away so that you're not making life any easier for those to occur. Thatcher Cage, you're looking towards Garage, really. That's your main hard breach location, and there's not many others that are required. Occasionally, you'll get somebody play for a hard breach on the wall along long desk, between long desk and meeting bomb site, but it's not all too often that we get that. Now, interestingly, we've got this entire wall reinforced off Des by Vitality between yellow stairs. We spoke about that location earlier and how having yellow stairs open allows you the opportunity to challenge onto an attempt at a plant behind the desk. That's not going to be possible here.
And also the single wall reinforced too, so a lot of commitment going in. That just screams to me that they want to stick a player in front of that single reinforced wall, and some teams do that. The only challenge you then face is if a player gets on console window, and just knows that you're playing in that spot. You are dead to rights. You run across that angle, chances are you're dead. You're going to need support exactly where Bibu is sat right now. You can even get naded if you're not careful. If the attackers do open up the top of that double reinforced wall, they can get grenades over. To me, it's always really high risk, albeit it will take a lot of utility out of the side of Virtus.Pro, that they've now got to decide, do we commit it into looking inside of console and catching the player out that's playing in that corner, or do we put all of our focus instead onto players like Rise, who are going to be sat at the top of yellow? And what a game he had against BDS. Admittedly, BDS struggling to attack Yellow, but Rise made it look easy.
Pasha looking to get a nade inside of Meeting early to clear that shield out. We'll do exactly that. None will penetrate beyond that because there is a couple of ADSs to prevent it. As you say, Bibu, he's actually playing without any ADS protection there, I believe, and that could be a risky one. At the minute, he's got Kaljeka on the window, which is not a worry for him, as Thermite doesn't carry nades, or at least he hasn't done for a long, long time. We've got Pasha, who could still impact on that location, though. Out comes the Toxic Babe canister. It would be very early to have to use one of these already, and Bibu is going to pop it back in the pocket for the time being.
P4's been an absolute terror on this map, it's worth mentioning, for Vitality when they played it. In fact, on a good few maps, he's been the kind of guy that will very merrily run through the enemy team, pick up 3 kills for himself and be like, well, you guys left the smallest hole in the world in your defense, and I punch straight through it like a missile. It can be an absolute terror if you don't keep a close eye on him. He's got the C4 in the back pocket here in case VP do put all of their focus on the top floor and ignore the downstairs. Something I feel you can't really afford to do, because Vitality over the last few weeks have shown how they love getting 2 players out on the roam, keeping themselves busy. Then normally you have the 3 site players being a little more passive there, looking towards players like Shinka, Bibu and Cactus.
Milon's managed to get himself established on Yellow Stairs there. We spoke earlier about how Rise previously had been the king of Yellow Stairs, but this time Vitality choosing not to defend that area. Maybe just shows that adaptation. They know that that's all available in the VODs, and it could be something that Virtus.Pro have prepared for. Now, they do have Rise and P4, I believe it is, playing underneath. They may be able to challenge onto those Yellow Stairs, but Milon was certainly set as if he was watching that flank. Raska's got himself in underneath on the book and is looking to start this roam clearance. Very late in the round. It's Cactus who's going to open things up for us onto WTG. 30 seconds to go.
I talk about Cactus every single week he plays in this position on the Maestro inside a meeting. He's an absolute god from that spot with the Alder. You need to keep an eye on him because he can do wonders with it. Milon, though, finding a second kill onto Bibu in the round before a third comes through from Ras. Finally, his crouch walking is rewarded. Kaljeka going for a plant now inside a console. Shinka is now trying to push his way towards bathroom. Has one also at the top. Can't bring them down. Virtus.Pro with a pretty clinical, albeit slow, first round.
Pretty easy for Virtus.Pro, I thought there. Rise and P4 having very little impact from underneath. They played the entire round on the mid floor. We do have to compare it to what we've seen previously, and that was Rise absolutely dominating those Yellow Stairs, unable to be moved and really putting a halt to the attacker's progress. This time around, played bottom of spiral, never really made much of an impact. Ras moved in from underneath, got himself P4 inside a piano, and really, you've played without 2 players there for a lot of the round.
It's kind of a change in tack, I think, because they had those ADSs committed. I think one was inside of meeting to help out Cactus. One was in the corner where Bibu was playing inside a console itself. And sure, he burned about 2 minutes there. They had to burn utility to get through the ADS, to get through the laser gate, for example. Fine. It did the job of soaking utility, and we mentioned in the pre-round, this is where a Yellow Stairs hold would be really, really rewarding when they're having to use utility in ways that they wouldn't want to. However, Virtus.Pro do make it look nice and easy. It's not really a problem that's going to bother them. They take the first round of Vitality, now head down into the basement ace. Nothing really worth shouting home about in terms of operator changes. You'll see Cactus sticking on Ye Old Faithful with that Elder. We've seen what he can do in the previous round with it, albeit not enough to give them an actual win. And on the other side, this has been quite prominent today. The sledge and the book in tandem. It almost feels like the openness now that Ashe isn't an absolute requirement in a lineup, even alongside Zofia, as we're seeing here, does give you a little bit more flexibility in what you can play.
Certainly does. Now, looking at the composition, as you say, there's no Zofia there. Iana is ever present, as always. Now, interestingly, as I said earlier, we've seen a little bit of a reduction in win rate for compositions that have Zofia Des. About 37% at the minute that is rounds that are being picked up on attack in compositions with Zofia on the board. So, not here now. We'll see how this attack goes for Virtus.Pro.
What was the other thing you told me about Iana? Like her average KPR
kills is over 1.
Yes.
About 1.02 coming into today. So basically, a little bit of that is skewed by the fact that it's being played by people like Shaiko, by Milon, by Citizen. This is an operator that's being picked up by the big gunners in the league. And it shows in the numbers because they're getting more than 1 kill per round as an average. But, at the same time, that shows how efficient and how good an operator Iana is.
Yeah. You got Rise and P4 again getting out in the map. One hanging out towards the east, and Rise again, the king of Yellow Stairs, looking to do a little bit of work around there. It was always fun seeing Rise clash in the previous week against Shaiko, who very commonly will push in the yellow doorway, look to push up the stairs, look towards piano, push down it on a basement attack, for example. So they were clashing every now and then. Admittedly, maybe not the best time grenades out of Shaiko to clear Rise when he was at the top of the stairs, but that is, of course, in a Playday long gone. For Virtus.Pro, it's the same thing that we've seen from them in a lot of the stage, right? We've said repeatedly how slow and lethargic they've looked, as if it's kind of a Russian thing, because Empire, as we saw today, have also been regarded as a very slow team. And it feels like we're so used to a bit of chaos in the early round that for these two teams, it's like there's a 90-second peace period where you can't shoot each other, be chill for 90 seconds, and then the aggression can begin.
Virtus.Pro have got themselves established inside a console now. The drones are still raining out in front of them. They've spotted Rise on the Mozzie. They know he's in there somewhere, but they don't know exactly where. For now, Rise has dropped himself back to the bathroom. I think he's actually supported potentially by the mute of Bibu as well, because Zeka it's going to be to open things up with a kill onto Shinka. There comes the challenge from Rise. I don't think he'll see too much more of that. Nope, we see his silhouette just drop off the side of our screen there to show that he's dropped the hatch and he's moved back to sight. However, Des, Bibu, sneaky, has kept himself in the bathroom on the back ledge there. And Virtus.Pro, Des, they've no idea. They don't know he's there. This could be a real jack-in-the-box moment for Bibu. We saw him hit some big flank moments last week. He's gonna need one now, as it's 5 versus 3, and here he goes.
He needs to do some magic because they've lost 2 members elsewhere around the map, peeking into the breach that was originally opened up. They're long gone, my friend, but they're running straight first into him, and now the players on yellow pause. They know there's a man in piano. He could ruin this whole round unless they stop him now or figure out a way to keep him at bay. He backs off into bathroom, 15 seconds on the clock. Milan's taken down. P4 finds another. These are the kills they needed. Ras will get one onto P4 as the push comes through, but it's a 1 versus 2. He has no one on the vertical as he is in a 2 versus 1. They've got to make it happen. Bibu stepping back in. C4 comes out. Will it find the man? Yes, it will. Wins by the clock, and just like against Empire on Villa, it's a big flank from Captain Bibu.
What a great round from Bibu there. Played it absolutely perfectly. Just kept himself perched on that ledge, ready to pounce, ready to strike, and did so at exactly the perfect time, moving into piano. And like you say, Des, just creating that lack of certainty, that unsurety for the team on yellow, knowing that they couldn't push forward. And Rask, he held on to that angle into piano for as long as he dared, but ultimately, as the bodies dropped in the basement, he had to move, he had to go and get that diffuser, and Bibu, he plays it absolutely perfectly with that nitro that he kept in his pocket, and what a round it was from him. This time, we're going to move into press and lobby for round number 3.
This may be the first time where you see Virtus.Pro sort of forced to engage these roamers quite directly. On this site, very commonly, we speak about it all the time, you're going to probably see a vertical hole coming through. That is, you'll see Vitality move upstairs at some point and start setting up inside a meeting. They'll open a few holes in the floor to contest onto the main lobby door. To prevent the attackers from just simply walking into site and planting, you'll be able to contest from above. That's going to be P4's job most likely in this round, as he is playing on the smoke, has a shield to help keep himself protected too. There he is opening up those holes right now. So Virtus.Pro are going to have to put some time and effort into clearing out this top floor before they start thinking about a plant.
Certainly RP4 just creating all the verticals that are needed to prevent the plants going down, all above the common default plant spots. He's also going to set his shield up there in the corner, and he'll basically hold on to that for as long as he can. We were talking about shotgun play in the break. I was actually talking to Jess about it and how great shotgun players, they manage to force CQC situations. You know, not every angle on a map is a short angle. It's about being able to create them. How do you do that? And he's put that shield closer to the door, and that's step 1. That allows him to play closer to that doorway, more aggressively, and give himself every advantage in that fight.
P4, I'll always mention whenever I see him playing in the room as well, inside a meeting. When I first saw him play, he was back on Easy Dream in Challenger League. It was a long time ago. The first round I watched him play, 3 players tried to push him, killed every single one with a shotgun in that room. He was absolutely cracked in that fixture. And Shinka is here bringing down Pasha. I think already with this vertical setup coming in, finding one is fantastic in itself, and they've still got to kill Shinka and kill P4 before they can start thinking about the site. So good early disruption work from Vitality. And that's quite early into the round as well. Only 60 seconds in and they've lost their sledge player.
It is Virtus.Pro, like you say, need to get boots on the ground and established inside of the map. Now, normally the top floor clearance for a press and lobby push would come in from the admin side. You'd get a couple of players in there. You'd have Kajeka in this sort of location on the balcony to try and assist with meeting, and you'd push through from there. Now, Virtus.Pro, they seem to want to more push directly onto the yellow and console side. What a nade from Milon to take Shinka out of there, and that is perfect play from Virtus.Pro. Virtus.Pro on the skylight.
Combination work is the most important thing. Start cooking the frag, chuck in a couple of flashes to burn out the ADS, and then the frag follows in. That's what I thought they would have done in the previous round, and with all the utility going in towards that position, there wouldn't be as much to commit in towards clearing yellow, which is where Rise is now sat. It's weird that it's kind of changed to be on this site instead, rather than on the upstairs one. All this being said, Vitality, they found themselves 2 kills. Rise finally put into down, but not out, and then P4 steps across for the trade. The 2 roamers playing off each other beautifully leaves Milan in a 1 versus 3 with 50 seconds still to play.
Not with the shotgun this time from P4, but using every tool in his arsenal. The SMG getting him 2 close range kills before he is ultimately put down by Milan. But a bit of chip damage has been taken there as well for the last man standing for Virtus.Pro. 35 seconds left to go. He needs to find himself at least 1 kill if he has any hopes of putting the diffuser down on the ground. At this point, the preferable method of winning the round would be to find both, because of course it's always a risk when you go into that animation of getting that briefcase down on the ground and activate. I don't think he knows his man to the left, does he? Yes, but he can't. He doesn't hit the pre-fire. Cactus finds him with the Auda, just crouched out of the way in the corner, and there you go, just straight across the Iana's head to close out the round.
Just aiming the tiniest bit too high as well. If he had pre-fired, he could have collected it, I think, but again, a couple of pixels above the head probably meant the Maestro was going to win that one every day of the week. Round number 3 going the way of Vitality. So Virtus.Pro starting off good in the first round, a little bit slow, but at least structured and sensible. The last couple have shown the impact of the potential from the roamers. It was Bibu with the round-ending C4 in round number 2. That round just there was all about Rise and P4 on the top floor doing absolute work. Let's see how round number 4 goes, as now we go back up onto the top floor. So yes, the previous site wasn't on the top floor, but it was defended up there. This one now is going to see the site actually move up onto the second floor.
It is, and we saw this back in round number 1. It's the one site that Virtus.Pro have won. Vitality that time basically completely forwent hold of yellow stairs in any way, shape or form. They just reinforced the wall off, backed away and tried to play from the mid-floor. But I think we're going to see something a little bit different this time, Des. We've got the ADS's Rise has just applied them to yellow stairs, so I think we are going to see much more of a direct attempt. And I think it's the right decision. We commented last time how Virtus.Pro dealt with the Vitality defence really well. Rask was able to clear out those mid-floor roamers without Rise or P4 ever able to have any major impact on the round. So this time they've decided to go back to their more default hold, and they're going to try to keep those yellow stairs for as long as possible. They've got the holes opened up that allow the line of sight onto the default plant next to the B bomb chassis. We're reinforcing meeting. Shinka's there on the mute, shotgun in hand. So I think we're seeing a pretty standard hold of console here.
It sounds to me a lot more, well, it looks a lot more standard on the sheer fact that, like you say, that double wall isn't reinforced this time round. There's kind of those feet holes opened up. And it's, you know, you can always say, well, why don't you just ignore yellow? It doesn't matter about Rise, right? He's sat at the top of the stairway. What can he do? It's the simple fact that he can just sidestep down that first flight of stairs and get the wonderful cross angle into the site. As soon as the rappel comes into console, he's going to be there ready to blast your feet out. You won't be able to get the plant down. So you are forced to deal with this player first and foremost.
Rise in that position now at the top of yellow stairs, and as he said himself, he's been playing there for years and years, and the experience certainly showed against BDS. He was very difficult to move out of there. In come the throwables to try and burn those ADSs. The nades will follow. Rise for the time being dips himself back. He is being supported by Bibu here, and this is something that we've seen. You put a dock in the bathroom ready with the stim pistols, and as your Jaeger takes a bit of damage out there and gets chipped away at, he just juices him back up and keeps him in the fight. For the time being, Rise, he's just dipping and ducking in and out of those yellow stairs to keep himself alive. In comes the nade and deals with the dock, but that does not move Rise from yellow stairs just yet. The problem here is that Rise is pinched. If they're repelling at the same time, he's going to have one on bathroom window, one on yellow stairs window, and he can't fight in 2 directions at once.
And he's also got someone on Skylight now. Earlier on, he was able to run quite freely back in towards front desk, but I think someone's now covering his retreat angle. Wherever he moves, he is probably going to get shot. So like you say, it's a case of wasting time. In comes the rappel this time around. One comes in, the second as well. And like you say, can't collect any in this case. I thought got the down for a second and Cactus will collect it, but there's still 2 fast kills going the way of VP. Now they've got the control. They've got the 4 versus 2. It's all down to Shinka and all down to Cactus to clutch this one out.
Shinka wanted to try for the C4 through the hatch there, but the hole hasn't been opened up sufficiently, Des, and he knows if he goes to do it himself, it's just going to give away. It's going to telegram exactly what he he is going to do there. So dips away from it. Cactus sees the feet at the top of yellow, takes a few shots, but will not take any damage. Keeping the long angle for the time being. He really is going to need the support of Shinka here. He needs his man to step up and do something. We're in at long desk now, so the battle lines are drawn. Cactus and Shinka, they've got the long angles. Going to try and hold them down. Now then, Cactus, he finds Pasha, but Shinka is shut down by Rask, who's moving down long desk. He's come on a flank. Will Cactus get him? Chip damage as he goes through the door. The diffuser is down, and Cactus, he's on the back foot here. He manages to put a few shots onto Rask, but not enough as he finds the final kill for Virtus.Pro. And Des, I think we're seeing there that Vitality have been a victim of their own success defending that top floor against BDS. They tried to do it differently in round one. It didn't pan out. They went back to standard, and then it didn't pan out because Virtus.Pro, they were more than ready for that.
It was really interesting going from watching Vitality against BDS and seeing BDS stall out on taking yellow and weren't quite sure what to do next. The next day we stepped into APAC, and I can't remember the teams we played. It was a Japanese team, but once it exhausted the ADSs, they did the same thing. They had a player rappel in from yellow and one rappel into bathroom, and they killed the player on yellow, died to the dock, I think, from the player that went into bathroom. Then the player that had rappelled into yellow stairs was still alive and then killed the dock, and that was it. Yellow was clear in about 60 seconds. It was really good to see the kind of risk-taking decisiveness. I wouldn't say it was as pacey from Virtus.Pro or as risky. They definitely got themselves in a more commanding spot. But once they pulled the play off, it worked wonderfully. And from that point, Vitality were broken. They couldn't hold on to yellow, and you saw the outcome of the round from there. Got to give a nod to Cactus there, by the way. I think he didn't have... Obviously, the outer takes a long time to reload. He was so scared of being pushed that he had the bailiff out in that final engagement. Couldn't really get his Balder out in time. It was still still needed to be reloaded, sorry. And, well, we all saw exactly how that one boiled down. 2-2 after 4 rounds feels like a pretty fair representation. And I think anything else sets us up for a really interesting second half. I doubt this goes 4-2. I think you're going to see it go quite balanced because both teams have showed what they're made of so far in the half.
I agree. I think it was always going to be one of the closest matchups of the night. We've had Vitality, I won't say take a dip in form, but you know they've not continued the complete winning streak. And then Virtus.Pro, we've seen them certainly take a lift last week, so it did feel like they'd be coming in on a reasonably level pegging, and that is exactly what we're seeing so far. So Virtus.Pro, they will start the attack here in round 5. It's going to be an attack onto the bottom floor. It's going to be onto Garage, but we've got a widespread defense from Vitality here. They're well aware of Rise's position. He goes to have an impact, but it'll be the wrong one as he loses his life to WTG on the rappel. Shoots the man down, finds the headshot to finish him, and that is going to be a good start for VP once again. Takes a lot of damage whilst doing it, but WTG won't mind that trade at all.
Thinking back to when Vitality played Kavana on this map, remember how many times they were collecting 1 or 2 opening kills inside of admin? Rise and P4 were a terrifying duo, consistently picking off members of Kavana, whether it was on a spawn peak, once they got onto the windows, for example. So that was quite uncharacteristic of Rise to go that aggressive. Remember, Kavana tried to do things on their defenses, and Sloth got picked off for free off the windows by P4 on the IQ. So bizarre how seeing Rise go so aggressive isn't really in their style. It isn't how they played the defense of that room before, and now they're going to have to pay the price a little bit.
Well, there was no real need to either. You know, at that point, the Mozzie is in there trying to waste time, and it's one of them. You think you've got the opportunity, maybe I catch him out, he's going to throw a drone in, you know. There's a situation there where you think, actually, I can just get a cheap kill here. And, you know, yep, sometimes you got to go for it and then players will come off. But, like you say, in this case, not happened for him. So 5 versus 4 as we come down to 1 minute 10 remaining. WTG just using that rear angle to try and catch anybody out in cafeteria. Milon, meanwhile, will find Bibu. So that now leaves us 5 versus 3, and things are slowly starting to fall apart for Vitality in the basement.
I mean, that's the last C4 they've got inside to offer as well. They do still have the smoke canisters from Shinka to make use of. But in a 3 versus 5, you're naturally worrying at this point about the gunfights when VP come in at force. They've got that significant number advantage. Oh, we saw this last week as well. I mean, lucky for Pashford doesn't kill him, but we've seen that one before, where it doesn't go through the stats. Not sure why things happen. Either way, walls are being opened up final 30 seconds. They've got the flanks covered thanks to WTG Samcams in this case, but that just avoids the risk of a flank from P4 later into the round. You still got to focus on what's in front of you, Ace, and that is the site with 20 seconds to go.
Certainly is. Diffuser is in hand of Kajeka, and he needs to find his path inside. He needs to find his opportunity to get it down. Toxic Babe canister will explode. Second one forces him to go deep all the way to the bomb chassis. He's going to try to get this down now. Kills raining on either side. 4 versus 2. Shinka just watching for that rear push, but that's not where the danger is right now, Shinka. It's the diffuser going down. Kajeka then finds a kill onto Cactus. Great plays from the Thermite. Last man alive, shut down in the security corridor. Milon finds the kill from Yellow, and that's going to be another round for Virtus.Pro. A great attack from them, and let's not forget, coming into this, Des, as I said, not including today's games, we have seen Consulate with that edge on the defender win rate. So the reason that I bring that up, it's not the be-all and end-all, absolutely not. But Virtus.Pro, if they can have a 4-2 half on attack, the odds certainly favour them for being able to get enough rounds on the board to win that second half as well.
I honestly think the Russian teams have been having us on, Look back
all they were doing was creating a false sense of security.
That's it, mate. Look back at the first couple of weeks, and I wouldn't go as far as saying like they were absolutely terrible, but Empire and Virtus.Pro were definitely down there.
They weren't
slow
good.
And lethargic on attacks, weren't really playing as a team, couldn't hit any gunshots. It was a real mess, and I was worried, if this carries on, and we theorised it, come stage 3, if Empire have a bad stage and VP don't recover, they're suddenly the two teams sat in 9th and 10th place when you look at the standings, thinking, okay, going into stage 3, we're in the hot seat. We're facing auto-relegation or that fight against the top team coming out of CL, or the second place team coming out of Challenger League, sorry. They're both recovering. Empire looked phenomenal earlier on. Again, back to the roots of old Empire looking aggressive. Virtus.Pro here, they just look untroubled at the minute by the flanks for the most part by Vitality and are just focusing what they need to do. Is it a little bit slow still? Sure, they got the breach open with 20 seconds to go. It was a little bit late, but it's still turned into a round win, and at the end of the day, that's all that anyone's going to focus on.
The thing is, for the Russian teams, for Empire and Virtus.Pro, I look at it and I think, is it always going to be a little bit slow? And the answer is probably yes. They play this methodical style where they're going to go in and they're going to clear this area, then they're going to move through, and it takes time to do, and that's fine, so long as they're as good as doing it as they need to be, because like we say, you don't get a second chance there, and that is the problem with time. So they have to be bang on the game if that's how they're going to play it.
I forgot who it was that said it last week. I forget if it was in NAL or if it was in EU or APAC. I think it was APAC, actually. I think it was Mag from Fnatic, where we said the same, you guys are really slow, like you're leaving it to the final 30 seconds. Why is that? And he said, truthfully, we don't mind. If we leave it to the last minute, but we've got confidence in what drones that we've got held, in what everyone's role is in that final execute, we don't care if it's 30 seconds or 300, it's still going to play out the same. So maybe it's just a stylistic choice for the side of the Russian teams. And for Virtus.Pro, with 3 rounds on the board, you're not going to complain too much. For them, it's going to be a similar setup once again, coming in from admin and looking to push their way across. Again, they need control of this top floor before they can start looking downstairs. Last time round, they got terrorized by P4 and Rise. So getting some good control of this top floor, to me at least, is the most important thing in this round.
Well, they've certainly got the beachhead established now inside of admin. We've got Pasha, WTG, Rascal with boots on the ground in there, so they're going to try to start that east to west sweep across the top floor. Moving P4 is going to be step 1, and you can see that Raska's just come in there, used the skeleton key to open up above that soft wall, and then eventually nades will fly in there to try and clear P4 out, try and force him down that hatch or further away, and that's exactly what they achieved. So that's meeting cleared up. But talking of clearing up, Des, clearing up, Bibu's just mopped up Pasha and Rask like a spilt drink.
I think that was on Spiral as well. You saw him like beelining his way back down Spiral like a kid that had just nicked some sweets from a sweet shop. In fact, no, it was Copy. Came up and ran underneath, caught 2 out. That is a
We saw a double nitro on there the other day as well.
Mate, honestly, Copy and Coffin, like Coffin's called Coffin for a reason. It is a death trap to C4s, and Copy really isn't all that different. Back to the Nordics, I can still think of players like Trico would get 2-3 kills from below on there. What a swing from WTG. Finds one onto P4, although traded back out a second later by Bibu, who steps onto a triple in the round.
Great round from him so far, and I'm sure that he will be hungry for more as Milon moves into the top floor, commanding meeting now and looking to move through. I'm not sure if he's aware that there is a man stationed inside of console still. Virtus.Pro have been ineffective at clearing out this top floor this time. They're having to work with what they've they've got, and what they've got is 20 seconds left on the clock. There is a challenge going to come in very soon here. It's Rise that's looking to get a view onto Milon. There's still 2 on the top floor. Surely he's got to find himself a kill or 2 soon if he wants to make anything happen here. Kajeka as well trying to support, getting the diffuser down, but in comes Rise. Bibu on his 4K, and that's going to be the round for Vitality, leveling things up. You bang right, Des. 3-3 at the half.
That's what you want to see. Nice and balanced as all things should be. Now then, with it sitting up that way, you're going to have to see some big differences in the second half, I think. You've seen the kind of balance between both sides there. Virtus.Pro, pretty good, I say, on the attack, except when they got tripped over by Vitality. It was like someone trying to do a run around the track and someone stuck the leg out, and a couple of times Virtus.Pro fell to the ground and Vitality have taken the round win away. In this half, you're seeing a twitch already starting to come out, potentially from P4, so quite the aggressive entry-based operator here, alongside him being the more standard picks that we keep on seeing from teams today, Buck, Sledge, and Iana. That seems to kind of be the holy trinity for a good number of teams today.
Yeah, I mean, you know, looking at those pick rates that I've spoken about, again, picked when available, percentage pick when available, Buck is up there as well, Des. I think he's currently in 4th place out of the attackers in Stage 2 so far, which I will double check for you. He is 4th place at 40% pick rate when available for Buck, so certainly a popular operator at the minute. Beaten by Sledge, to be fair. Sledge is in 2nd place at the minute. He's only beaten by Iana.
Fair enough. Doesn't surprise me too much, admittedly. I think really, alongside like Iana, I mean, she brings a little bit extra, you might wager, unless vertical destruction is really going to be your focus. The fact that she's got the Gon 6, the nades, seemingly unlimited drones via the way of her gadget, plus 2 drones themselves, very, very versatile. Sledge not miles away, just a little bit lacking on the utility, but what he loses in that, he does gain in the vertical destruction. And of course, no Gon 6. Let's see, though, how round 7 plays out to kick things off. At least for Pasha, looks like he's trying to channel his inner Rise, hanging around yellow to begin with. But with no ADSs set up here, I can't imagine his stay is going to be long-lived.
Just going to play on that hatch for the time being, see if he can get himself a little angle, make sure that Piano's clear. And try to keep it that way, of course. Rask, he's going to be the man tasked with avoiding the vertical pressure coming in. We've got a Route 1 approach to the garage door here as the nades are used to clear out those denial jammers from the mute. We've got the Selmas applied at top and bottom there. Now you'll see those angles getting opened up. Interesting way of clearing the entire thing off there, Des. If you've not tried that one, you can use it. Very top, very bottom, and the entire thing will disappear.
Same with Hibana as well. She did it for the longest time. And I think we first saw it used on Wardrobe Wall on Oregon, actually, attacking in through bedroom in towards game room. Someone first used it, I think, where you stick the 6 across the top, the 6 across the bottom, and as long as it covers the entire red bar of the reinforcement, it will completely take it away. So nice little mechanic to make use of, sure. Requires 2 of your Salmos, and the third one can then be used to open the window, like what Cactus is employing now. So you do get a good opening to make use of here. Sure, it's not a full wall opening like you might have with the Thermite, but that's what they want if nothing else. And there we go. That's exactly why you like the window. That's all too easy onto Rask.
Rask gets caught out big time there as he moves back through to pipes. It was as if he was unaware that the window was open in that garage wall to give the viewpoint to Cactus, and cool as you like, he takes him down. Now then, Raj uses his head and hits the deck. No, it's not Raj, sorry, it's Pasha now. I just see the Jaeger silhouette and I think Pasha hits the deck and tries to just crawl his way through there. He pops up and looks to take the challenge, but all he's going to take is a downing as he gets put down but not out. Unlikely that there'll be any opportunity to pick him up. WTG, however, does find one onto P4, leaving us effectively 4 versus 3 now. 3 versus 3 as Kajeka manages to find Cactus on the ace, but the kills keep coming and the time keeps ticking as we find ourselves with 45 seconds left to go.
WTG holding close, uncharacteristic maybe to see a mirror playing in front of the mirror rather than behind it in this case. Going to dart back away and get back to her safe place, standing behind the mirror window, waiting for yellow to be assaulted. Now you've got to be aware about the vertical angles because you do not have enough men left alive. You've got Milan and WTG both on site, so the vertical control is with Vitality, but time waits for no one. 25 seconds still to play. Shinka's now going to go in and start the plant. WTG, C4 in hand, steps out. Think tries to get away from the C4 or at least to kill the man using it, but no. Gets C4'd out. One more steps over. Bibu runs right into the line of fire of the Maestro. You can see why Mira is such a feared operator. Those black mirrors have absolutely sabotaged every plan they had of holding this round out. Rai's going to fall into the same demise, no doubt. It is that simple. Sidestep from mirror window, blast them into the ground. It's as easy as that, Ace.
A nice patient defence there from Virtus.Pro, I thought. They lost effectively 2 men very early on. Rask being the first to go down near pipes, and then Pasha being put down but not out as well. But there was no panic in Virtus.Pro. They just held the line, knew what they wanted to do. There was an essential nitro that came in to take Shinka down before he was able to get that diffuser down on the ground and activated, and that really seemed to turn things around for them. It levelled up the man count, and it just gave them an opportunity to pick up Vitality as they were then coming from difficult positions, having to manoeuvre back in and try to collect that diffuser against the clock that was still ticking. It was a good round for Virtus.Pro.
It was. Okay. Maybe some questions to ask for Vitality around the opening of the vertical. We spoke about, okay, well, you've got 2 of you on site. You can't really defend the verticals. So surely someone gets inside of Anti and opens it up so you can no longer play inside a cafeteria. Forced to move away would make it a lot easier and safer to plant in behind the white van. But I think, unfortunately, they decided we just simply don't have the time here or the resource with which to do it. Bibu was still left alive, as I believe. He was the last one that went down too. So some question marks around that when you got a sledge and a buck. I think the buck was dead, but others were still alive and able to do some work. That aside, we go upstairs now onto the second floor. Vitality, after that last round win, looking to bounce back here. Keen to see if it's going to be a yellow take or an admin take, because Virtus.Pro on their attack, they kind of change between the two quite comfortably. Look at Karjeka trying to be cheeky.
Karjeka looking for the peak there on the Auda, will dip away, takes a little bite, a little chance, but won't connect with anybody. But what it does is it just puts it into the mind of Vitality. It already is there that they're thinking about those windows, but you know what? Virtus.Pro, they're playing aggressive, they're playing confidently, and we need to keep that in mind. We need to think about those jump outs, we need to think about that unpredictability, and it's just another thing for them to think about, not allowing them to get comfortable. Now we've got one on the console rappel already. Rise is looking to get himself onto the bathroom as well. Pasha just lurking underneath, and I said it, didn't I? There's the jump out. I did say that the confidence was rising and they were looking for that unpredictability. It's Karjeka who actually gets the second, but what a fantastic jump out. Hang on a minute though, Des. Cactus has got himself in sight and he's putting the diffuser down. Rise will go down but not out. This round is going wild. Diffuser activated, 40 seconds left to go. Cactus launches himself out of the window to try and get on that console rappel post plant. Karjeka manages to finish off Rise, 3 versus 2, but there's only about 24 seconds left for them to do anything here. Vitality needs 7 seconds to disable that activated diffuser. Rask, he's desperate, he wants to go out, he knows he does, but he knows that the challenge will be expected. What a brilliant nade that was to keep him at bay. They're trying to get him, they do eventually. They've got time, can somebody get on? Yes, Karjeka is there. What a turnaround from Virtus.Pro. They are practically unstoppable on Consulate.
That was a wild round. That is one that I'm marking down with a nice big green star to go back and watch, because the initial impact coming in off the side of Vitality looked phenomenal, and you thought, man, they've got the 2 kills they need here, they can go in for it. But Virtus.Pro, they really rally around. The double jump out coming in, one already exposed, the second peeking out in front of him to get the 2 kills they needed, and Karjeka was ready and waiting for the defuse. Beautiful stuff, and 2 rounds on the bounce of Virtus.Pro as they move to 5 and 3, and just one more round away from that match point.
I want to focus on the positives of Vitality's round as well there. That was a round that was played very well by both sides.
Oh yeah, the attack
they both
was great.
Took their opportunities. As you say, the jump out and the aggression was perfectly timed from Virtus.Pro, but at the same time, whilst that was all going on as a distraction, just the presence of mind for Cactus to think, right, I'm in here, I'm going in here and I'm getting this diffuser down, and boy, he did it, and then just launched himself out of the window. One of my favourite bits of that round was that nade from Cactus. He knew that they were desperate to run out on him from the yellow stairs door, but he was also being pushed from the window as well. So how do you deal with 2 angles? Well, I'll tell you what, you have a think about that cut grenade for a second, and that lets me focus on the window, and it was so close to being successful.
Madness. It's what we love to see. We like an entertaining game, and that is absolutely what we are being treated to. Now, we spoke about this site repeatedly. Defending up on the top floor, holes being opened up by the smoke, playing in behind the shield. You've heard us repeat this story a few times already in this match, and a little bit of a setup going on inside of Connector, likely to give them some coverage onto the console window. Stop Karjeka just being blasted out by a Zofia, for example. Also got a mute jammer in there, a couple of reinforcements being committed. They're serious about this top floor ace.
Certainly are. And they need to be. They need to make sure that they've got control of it. We've already seen today how powerful the verticals can be from the top floor here when trying to defend into the mid. We've seen attacks shut down from there without the top floor being properly cleared. So needs to be a priority for Vitality now. Pasha gets himself underneath an interesting position. He's on the mute and has Nitro in hand. And there is the potential for a plant denial from the basement as well. So he may choose to keep himself down there. You open up the hatches in and around the round desk and you can basically launch your Nitro up through there into a lot of those default spots to try and shut down any attempt at a plant. May well be wasted time. He may not get the opportunity, but it's still a nice little option to have.
I think the glass isn't shot out here as well, so sound will be masked on the outside of the building, and with that angle looking straight through onto the boards on the other side, we've got a cheeky little side angle looking straight in to Piano. And I think they're aware of this. Maybe having that kind of cover is great because it's going to make playing an anti a real battle to go for, essentially. And they could just think about if they get the bottom of white control and get any kind of Piano coverage from the window repel as well, that could be them going in for the attack. You can see Bibu's moving because he's just waiting for someone to try and do something. What they've got to be mindful of is C4s coming in from below. We saw it in the first half. Vitality were playing down there for quite a while too. Look how close this is, Ace. A few more pixels. They have a free kill on his side. I don't know if they even know that he's there at this point.
Not sure they do, but WTG, whether by accident or not, keeps himself under cover, and then his movement is so fast that Bibu cannot react in time. Pasha finds the opener onto Shinka, and this is another round that is going well for Virtus.Pro, but Rise manages to find one onto Pasha, levels us up at 4 versus 4, and this round is as intense as everyone that has preceded it. Rise just dips back to the yellow stairs for the time being, but he needs to push forward, Des. He can't just rely on this because the pressure will come from Connector. If the plant is attempted in Piano, that will be the reaction of those players on the top floor, likely to try and get above, to try and push into Rise. Rask will get that kill, and that is a big blow for the attack of Vitality here. 25 seconds left to go. They try to get themselves inside. Absolutely not, says WTG. Not today. And he puts the diffuser on the deck as he does so and kills the man. Kasheka finds Bibu. 3 versus 1. It's all for P4 to do. He gets one, Des. 12 seconds and 2 kills left to find the diffuser's cold on the ground. He's searching. He knows that this one comes down to man count and man count only, and it's going to be Rask popping out of the bathroom into antechamber to finish that one for Virtus.Pro. 6-3 now.
Poor Bibu as well. I felt really bad for him because within 30 seconds he was on that anti-window, held the angle for 2 minutes straight, and then he repels in and is dead in 2 seconds. Patience of a saint, making sure he had the angle on lockdown, couldn't quite find the man that was running around in anti, and then gets punished as soon as he repels in after his man with the diffuser got cleaned up on the Piano window. That's just the way that the rounds play out sometimes. Another good round for Virtus.Pro, playing quite deep, not looking to get too aggressive inside a bathroom or an anti, and just saying, look, we'll sit back. We know you guys aren't going to threat us in benches, for example, so we can sit there and play comfortably. And when you go for the repel, when that time starts running low, that is when we will strike. We go back downstairs, and what seems to be, I don't want to say a crutch almost coming out for the Russian teams, but a real strong point of their defense is that teams are learning repeatedly. You need to ban it away against them. It's going to be that mirror coming out for Virtus.Pro.
It certainly is, and we've already seen the power of it, Des. We've seen the power of it on this very site, and we could well see that happening again. If that's the case, then Vitality could find themselves out of things here and now, and what a shock that will be for them as a team. They had such a strong start to Stage 2, including that win against BDS, and they just haven't been able to continue that form over the last couple of Playdays this week. It's been a little bit of a struggle for them, and I'm sure if Vitality come away with another loss here, they're going to be scratching their head a little bit, Des, and wondering, where's it all going wrong?
Yeah, I mean, after beating BDS, you feel unstoppable. You feel like you're going to be on top of the world. We've just beaten one of the best teams in Europe, French rivals in a way too. It was a fantastic game where they showed everything they could do, and well, since then it's looking likely to be 2 losses on the bounce. We said it last week. It just turns EUL completely on its head and makes it so exciting to come and watch week on week. Pasha opening things up on to Rise here from Yellow Stairs. I mean, King of Yellow? Not this game.
His crown has certainly been taken, Des, and I'm going to be getting the wall open very quickly here inside the first 30 seconds or so for Vitality. Both panels will go, and that will give them the access they need. It's not the end of the world yet. Let's not paint this picture as if it is already finished. There is still work for Virtus.Pro to do on this. Vitality get the drones in. They're looking to try and find those positions. Rask, he this time has managed to get himself established in at pipes. If you remember last time they defended Garage, he got caught out trying to move back into that location. So this feels like a more complete defense for Virtus.Pro. Now Pasha's going to drop himself into Piano. Don't think he'll try to return to site just yet, but he does have access to those yellow stairs. Of course, it can be a power position. We see Shaiko repeatedly trying to play there whilst you're getting that diffuser down. But for the time being, there's a man above. Kajeka just trying to hold down from Piano, and that vertical is crucial. Vitality, they got to move him, Des. They got to move him.
The default cam is so helpful because they can see all of lobby. They know that he's not going to get flanked, for example. They've got 2 players watching yellow stairs. No one can threaten him. He's very comfortable sat in there. And now that Bibba's got a drone coming in, this is where you're seeing that adaptability coming out of Vitality. They know they've got to unseat the man here. They can't comfortably get in and plant. At most, they'll have to run in and go for a challenge vertically onto Kajeka. But then you've got to worry about Rask, who's playing on pipes. They've got so much set up at the yellow ping. Oh, we know how deadly that can be in the right time. In comes the Predator Free Fire here, waiting for the vertical angle to open up, but he sidesteps it. Another one comes in. Pre-fire comes up. They see the man, and that's how you collect it. You'd hope on the default cam that it's in the drone, but they did not.
Beautiful kill from Bibu there. Great teamwork. Just, again, moving that drone in so stealthily so Kazeka wasn't aware of it. Cactus manages to find Rask, but let's not forget, Virtus.Pro were able to lock down this site with only 3 last time, Des. They've got that mirror window. They've got Milon in place on the Alder. There's 40 seconds left for Vitality to get this diffuser down on the ground. There's a man inside a Piano now, going to apply some vertical pressure and support. He's just on the rappel. Milon manages to find Cactus, though, and that now leaves us 3 versus 3. 30 seconds left to go. The smoke canisters are out. The potential for the plant is on. P4 has diffuser in hand. Bibu above finds one, but he's the last man alive as P4 gets found by WTG. This could be it. 2 versus 1. 13 seconds left to go. Bibu, he has to rescue the day for Vitality. He can't find the first. He's shut down. And that's going to be Virtus.Pro with back-to-back wins in EUL.
And 4 straight attacking rounds as well. Phenomenal, defensive rounds coming out of Virtus.Pro. Kind of plays that narrative once again that this is starting to look like a pretty defender-favoured map, at least in the record. Everyone's out the chairs having a bit of fun, except for one man. He's having a nice little chill there, arms back, net back, done some good work there, boys, and a well-deserved win. Again, that spreads a certain storyline where both Russian teams are now 2-0 after starting 0-2. Vitality beat BDS of now on 2 losses in a row. EUL's turning upside down, and you love to see it.
Oh, that's what we're all about. I say this every time. The big strength for me inside of Europe is not just the big teams or the big names that we've got. It is the depth of the quality that we've got, and it is that any team can beat any other on any given day, and that's what we're seeing over the last 2 play days. For me, keep it coming. Let's mix it up. Let's have everybody going into Playday 10 on the same number of points with not a clue what's going to happen. That's where the entertainment is.
Well, our predictions are in tatters. I don't know about yours at home, but let's get over to the desk and get their thoughts on how this game played out.
I guess all of us are hit prediction-wise after this game.